Hey everyone, welcome. As you probably can figure out with the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about a 78 RPM record that I recently found in a flea market. Now here in Colorado and Cheyenne, we have flea markets, but they are indoor fairs. You might call them antique malls. While we do have outdoor flea markets, it's a rarity. Of course, it's run by seasons, with the exception of the Mile High Flea Market in Denver, which does run all year. Um, but for us, we have indoor markets that are uh, they have booths that are rented out by individuals who wish to sell things. If it's just one owner and they have all the stuff in there in the stock, they don't have any consignments or anything, that's more of an antique store. We just prefer to call them flea markets. So anyway, I was out shopping around in a flea market in Fort Collins, and I saw a small stack of 78s. Now, I've been kind of digging into the history of 78s, the collectors, particularly Paramount Records, some of the early jazz greats like Charlie Patton, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Son House, guys like that. Even Louis Armstrong had a run within Paramount Records. So I actually found, was really surprised, I did find a Paramount Records 78. Not in the best condition, but you don't expect these things to be in the best condition. This one was released in 1921, so it's over 100 years old. Um, I did a little research. I use Discogs to keep track of my own collection of all my records and my tapes and CDs and 45s, as well as a few CDs. Or not CDs, 78s. I already said CDs. So I have just a small handful of 78s. But I saw it. I thought I'd pick it up. Going on to Discogs, I saw that there was one guy selling it for about $14. I was the only one that marked it as an ownership, and two other people were wanting it. So while this may be a rare record, it's not a highly sought out record. I have no idea what this sounds like yet. You and I are going to take that journey. I'm going to set up another record player. Back behind me, I've got my Dual 506. I'm not a big audiophile. I like something that can play my records and make it sound good. I can't afford some of the higher end stuff. I'd love to have an LP 120, something a little bit higher end, something I can change needles out. But what I get to use today is I'll switch out my Dual, and I'm going to break out, pardon me, I'm going to break out my Gerard SLX from 1966, and it does play 78s, and I just got a stylus in that will allow me to play my 78s again. I only usually use this one if I want to hear a stack of records, usually my 45s, because I have well over 400 of them. It's kind of nice instead of having to get up every 3 minutes and changing out off of my Dual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook everything up. I'm going to run it into my computer. I have a way to record. I've got audio production tools. And what you will be hearing is what I have recorded on my computer, and hopefully it sounds good. I have no idea what this is. It's not blues. I can already tell that. In fact, I should talk about it. This is Paramount Records number 20061, and it's two artists. It's not the same artist. So side A is "I Like You" by Frank Evers. And the flip side is Jones and Harrold performing Moonshine. I've looked around on the internet. I cannot find anything, so I'm hoping, just for historical reasons, that having this on YouTube, as well as just a copy, regardless of what it sounds like. Now, the computer programs I use, I can clean up a little bit. I don't know what's going to end up in the final product, but I'm going to at least record it, and you guys will be able to hear it directly from the turntable and not just from my camera phone going through my stereo setup. So we're going to end up playing this one. So on the first one, I Like You by Frank Evers. So there are no other mentions of these artists anywhere on Discogs. This is the only release from 1921 from Paramount Records. So it's a tenor solo orchestra accompaniment. And then Moonshine by Jones and Harrold is a tenor baritone duet with orchestra. So maybe a little jazzish, maybe just more of a pop vocal thing. No idea. But I wanted to share this with everybody. So I'm going to flip things around and let's get this thing playing.
I've a secret, I can't keep it, I must tell you now. You some baby, some sweet baby, and you got me wild over you, my baby. I'll be happy, oh so happy, when I am with you. There's something, a little something that you always do when you love, my baby. I like you. Because you have a such a loving way, I like you. Because you look so cute, so sweet, so neat and everything, baby. And a while about your loving, crazy love, you said a hugging, I like the pretty little sound, so bright eyes, hypnotize me every time I look at you, they just seem to thrill me through and through. You know they do, I must admit that it is true. I have a bit when I see you, for I like you because you have such a loving way. I like you because you have such a loving way. I like you because you look so cute, so sweet, so neat, and everything, baby. And a while about your loving, crazy bound, you say a hugging, I like pretty little sound, so bright eyes, hypnotize me every time I look at you, they just seem to thrill me through and through. You know they do, I must admit that it is true. I have a bit when I see you, for I like you because I have such a loving way.
Today we met a colored gal named Susan Anna Gray. She seemed as bright and cheerful as the flowers in May. She said, I'm full of vigor, honey, nothing bothers me. Why, I feel so happy, I could even kiss a bumblebee. I love the birds, the sun, the sky, and the raindrops that fall. But child, you never could surmise what I love best of all. I've gone wild. I'm wild about moonshine. Just crazy about moonshine. I mean, it makes Mooney such a loony. I've gone wild from yearning night and day. And I feel like pining when the moon has shining far, far away. You get a fella who is willing and a bench in the park. Drag the fella and the bench to a spot in the dark. Let him hug and let him kiss until his heart is satisfied. If you pop the question, let your conscience be your guide. I've gone wild. I'm wild about moonshine. Moonshine has made a wild, wild woman of me. I've gone wild. I'm wild about moonshine. Just crazy about moonshine. I mean a little liquor. I have to kick her. I'm gone wild from yearning night and day. And I feel that quiver of the old Green River fading away. You get a cellar in the kettle, some yeast and corn, a little sugar and some raisins, and you boil them till morn. Let them stand about a week and you'll discover with joy it'll kick you like a jackass. Oh boy, I'm gone wild. I'm wild about moonshine. Moonshine has made a wild, wild woman of me and me.
So I actually enjoyed that. It sounded better than I thought it would because there was quite a bit of wear and tear on the record. Um, so it sounded pretty good, being, like I said, a pop song. I knew it wasn't jazz, it wasn't blues, like Charlie Patton, which would have been a cool find, but those things are rare as well. When it comes to some of those blues records, uh, with 78s, they're a finite number. People have them. They either donate them to thrift stores. Um, Sometimes they just get thrown away. Sometimes they're so well played that they can't play anymore. Now, there are collectors out there who have a lot of these records, and there's a lot of collections out there you can find. So, something I wanted to mention real quick is when I put this record on, uh, we're used to our vinyl records now that has a lead in. There's a little bit of an extra groove that the stylist grabs into, brings it into the rest of the recorded groove, and then at the end you have a groove that goes to the end, and if you have an auto changer like mine is, it'll pick up the needle and then return it. This didn't have that. I had to fit, and you saw in the video, I had to physically push the stylus to start at this record, and it played through, and then there's a little hard stop groove right here, so it doesn't go any further than this little line. Of course, when this was made, they didn't have auto changers. It was steel needles and a wind up mechanical turntable. So they didn't really need that. You just put it in, start it, and go from there. Kind of cool. Fortunately, I've got this set up. I'm going to do a couple. I've got another record set. I'm not going to make a video on it, but I've got. Oh crap! That was not good. I almost lost that one. I love Boogie Woogie. So this is Pine Top Smith's Boogie Woogie. So there's 4 sides. I'm going to definitely encode that for myself. But talking about the history, if you want to know a little bit more about Paramount Records in particular, there's a book out there by Scott Blackwood. It's called The Rise and Fall of Paramount Records. A great migration story. They operated from 1917 till about 1932, and then they went out of business. Just a quick recap for Paramount Records. There was a chair company called Wisconsin Chair Company. They made the cabinets, wooden cabinets for the Victrola record players. They would just drop in the mechanics of that and go from there. Well, they wanted to add some little bonuses to it, some free stuff, so they started a record label, Paramount Records. The records themselves weren't very well made as far as the quality of the shellac they were using. They mixed other things in there, so that doesn't help with the survivability rate of these records. So it was just done cheaply compared to other labels, but they definitely had what was called the race records. That was where we get the jazz and the blues, that early stuff. If you're interested in not only that book, I also recommend another record label book. This one's called The Black Swan Blues. The Hard Rise and Brutal Fall of America's First Black-Owned Record Label by Paul Slade. My edition is the 2021. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of the Rise and Fall. I've read it, but I don't have the Rise and Fall of Paramount Records yet. Another book I would recommend if you're wanting to get in 78 collections or just curious about 78 collections, is this book by Amanda, and I'm going to kill it here, Petrusic. Uh, Do Not Sell at Any Price, The Wild and Obsessive Hunt for the World's Rarest 78 RPM Records. I'm still currently reading this one. I'm not quite done with it, but it's a very good read. I'm a collector. I kind of showed, you can see my cassettes back here, my cassette collection, a little bit of my 70 or CDs. I've got other pictures of my my CD collection, my album collection. So I'm a collector. Not that I would get into 78 collecting in of itself. I know how rare these things are. I know how expensive they can get. Yes, you could go to a thrift store or flea market. You might be able to find some, but the stuff that you know you may really want to hear probably can't be found. Again, like I said, with this one, there are probably other copies out there, but there's 2 known copies on that's listed on Discogs, and a couple other people want it. When it comes to the Charlie Patton, the Blind Lemon Jefferson, there are very few, but there are people like these collectors who have put them on other releases. So you can still find the music and find the music on Spotify. Can't find these 2 on Spotify, but you can now find them on YouTube. So with that, I'm going to encode. Oh, I was going to talk. I had a small handful of 78s. I'm going to grab those real quick. You saw the Pine Top Smith. I've also got a 78 of Benny Goodman and his orchestra. He does a cover of String of Pearls, which is made famous by Glenn Miller. The flip side is Jersey Bounce. And then speaking of Glenn Miller, I've got a Glenn Miller set here, as well as the Glenn Miller story. I love the movie. I'm just a Glenn Miller fan. Glenn Miller's the reason I played trombone in high school, because I love it. So I love the movie they made with him. So with James Stewart. So I'm always happy to have Glenn Miller stuff. Anyway, I may get more over time, but right now, I'm not going to be finding any Charlie Patton unless it's a real lucky find, which I doubt. That's a rarity. Here in northern Colorado, Cheyenne, records like Paramount really didn't make its way westward. They were more of Wisconsin. They flowed down because of the blues and the jazz. They kind of flowed down towards the south and to the East Coast, which is where you'll really find them. Finding them here in northern Colorado, not so much. Anyway, sorry about the rambling. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed the music from Paramount Records. And hopefully I'll give you another video soon. Take care.
Over you, my baby, I'll be happy, oh so happy when I am with you. Now there is something, honey, there's something that you always do.